In 1627, Bamberg built something stranger than a jail, a witch prison designed around a floor plan. The spark was a weather panic. A late frost had damaged vines, grain, and fruit, and frightened people wanted someone to blame. On this plan, the blame becomes architecture. Rows of numbered cells, an interrogation chamber, a chapel, and a label, the Malefice House, the criminal's house. The people locked inside were neighbors, merchants, council members, anyone named under torture by someone who had already broken. Bamberg sits in Franconia, in the heart of the Holy Roman Empire. In the 1620s, it was a prince-bishopric, a territory where a Catholic bishop held both spiritual and political power. The bishop was Johann Georg II, Fuchs von Dornheim. The 30 Years' War was grinding through Germany. Inflation had already wrecked prices across the region. The Counter-Reformation had sharpened religious discipline, and the climate was turning against everyone. In late May 1626, a killing frost struck Franconia. Grapevines, fruit trees, and grain were damaged across the countryside. Johann Langhans, the mayor of nearby Zeil am Main, recorded the destruction in his diary. The timing was devastating. A hard frost that late in spring meant the year's harvest could be ruined before it started. Wine and grain prices surged. People were already hungry, already afraid, and already living under a theology that said witches could control the weather. Petitions reached the prince-bishop with a simple, dangerous question. Why are the authorities tolerating the witches who did this? Friedrich Forner, the vicar general of Bamberg, had been preaching about witchcraft for years. In 1626, he published 35 witchcraft sermons. Forner gave the panic a theological frame. Witches were real. They were among you. And tolerating them was an offense against God. Fuchs von Dornheim had the political authority to act. The legal system gave him the tool that made everything worse. Under inquisitorial procedure, prosecutors could act on suspicion. Torture was treated as a way to extract truth. And the most important question asked under torture was always the same. Who else was at the Sabbath? Every confession produced new names. Every name became a new arrest. By 1627, the arrests had outgrown every available holding space in Bamberg. Fuchs von Dornheim ordered a new building, the Malefice House, later remembered as the Drudenhaus, the witch's house, was purpose-built. Historian Spencer Weinreich argues that it was designed around solitary confinement, individual cells where prisoners could not speak to each other, could not coordinate their stories, could not offer comfort. A chapel so priests could minister to the accused before and after interrogation. Chambers where torture extracted the confessions the system depended on. The architecture helped produce witches. Isolate someone long enough. Torture them. Write down the names they give you. Arrest those people. Repeat. In the summer of 1628, the machine reached Johannes Junius. He was the burgomaster of Bamberg, one of the city's most prominent officials. He was arrested after people already under torture named him. On June 30th, they used thumb screws, then leg screws, then the strapado. He was hoisted by his bound wrists and dropped. He confessed to what they wanted: a woman who turned into a goat, a witch's Sabbath, a new name from the devil. All of it was invented under pain. 3 weeks later, Junius smuggled a letter out of the Malefice house to his daughter Veronica. He told her he was innocent. He told her that everyone he had named under torture was innocent too. One line described the whole system. Whoever comes into the witch prison must become a witch, or be tortured until he invents something out of his head. The hunt crossed every social boundary Bamberg had. Members of the Hahn family, prominent city officials, were arrested and executed. The mayor of Zeil, the same Johann Langhans who had recorded the frost damage, was executed for witchcraft too. In 1630, a woman named Dorothea Flock was accused. Her husband and her relatives in Nuremberg appealed outside Bamberg, directly to the imperial court. For the first time, someone had the connections and the legal standing to challenge the prince-bishop system from above. The emperor intervened. Imperial courts demanded that Bamberg follow ordinary legal procedure and stop treating witchcraft as a special crime where normal protections did not apply. By 1631, the trials were collapsing under legal pressure and under the fear of Bamberg's own elites that they might be next. Then the war made the question urgent in a different way. Swedish forces advanced into Franconia. Fuchs von Dornheim fled the city. The Malefizhouse was emptied. The prisoners still alive walked out. Over roughly 4 years, hundreds of people had been executed in the Prince-Bishopric. Some regional estimates put the combined toll for Bamberg and neighboring Würzburg at 900 or more. The building that had made the killing efficient was closed. Eventually, it was gone. Most people who know anything about witch trials know Salem. 19 people died there. In Bamberg, the number was measured in hundreds. Salem had no prison built for the purpose. Bamberg did. A building designed from the ground up to turn suspicion into confession, and confession into more names. The frost of 1626 lit the fuse. The floor plan of 1627 leaves the harder image behind. When a panic becomes a system, someone draws up the blueprints.